Dublin City in the Rare Old Times, episode 150. I am Rod Murphy, and this is Growing Up Poor in Irish Boston, a series of my 1950s era Irish Boston songs, history, jokes, and stories. Dublin City in the Rare Old Times is one of the most beloved and iconic Irish folk songs. Written by Pete St. John in 1970. It was first recorded by the Dublin City Ramblers and later became a big hit thanks to legendary performances by groups like the Dubliners. So who were Pete St. John and Sean Dempsey? Pete St. John, singer and songwriter, was born Peter Mooney in 1932 in Dublin. He wrote many well-known Irish songs like The Fields of Athenry, The Ferryman, and this one, Dublin City in the Rare Old Times. The lyrics put Sean Dempsey as the narrator of this song. He was a real person, a working-class Dubliner and an alien piper. There is a story about Dempsey and Adolf Hitler. He toured Europe in the 30s, including Germany. The story goes that Hitler wanted to hear Dempsey play. When he arrived to play, Hitler was seated in the only chair in the room and did not know that alien pipers need to sit while playing. Sean explained to the Fuhrer that he had to sit to play. The story goes on that Hitler then ordered a stormtrooper to get down on his hands and knees, and Dempsey sat on his back and played Caroline's Concerto. This song is a heartfelt, nostalgic lament, a bittersweet reflection on how Dublin has changed over the decades. Through the eyes of the narrator, Sean Dempsey, the song mourns the loss of the old city that he grew up in during the mid-20th century. The song expresses deep regret for the modernization and urban redevelopment of Dublin. The narrator feels like a relic of the past displaced by so-called progress, redundancy, and the demolition of familiar landmarks. He fondly remembers a time when life revolved around oral traditions such as songs, stories, children's rhymes, community spirit, traditional trades, and the human scale of the city. Now he sees soulless glass cages, which he calls the modern office blocks and high-rises that replace the old buildings. He feels alienated in his own hometown. Those of us who grew up in old Boston, that is Irish Boston, understand those regrets fully. Downtown Boston, with its destructive redevelopment, has become cold, soulless, impersonal, and inhabited by strangers. Glass cages applies also to Boston in places like the new Seaport or the new City Hall, which has no dock workers, no ships, no fishermen, and no poor folks, but lots of high-rises, international offices, chain hotels, very expensive restaurants, and no ordinary folks. I have mentioned how Boston is now inhabited by strangers. Many of Boston's current political leaders fit that description. For example, Congresswoman Anya Presley was born in Cincinnati. Mayor Michelle Wu was born in Chicago. And State Senator Lydia Edwards wasn't born in Massachusetts either. Those Pauls and most of the Massachusetts elected officials are part of the loon wing of the Democratic Party. So we current or former Bostonians long for the long ago days of Ray Flynn, Billy Bulger, James Michael Curley, Ed King, John Collins, and Kevin White, and we ache with nostalgia like Sean Dempsey and Pete St. John did. Key lines in this song capture this bittersweet lament perfectly. The years have made me bitter, the goggles dim my brain, 'cause Dublin keeps on changing and nothing seems the same. The pillar and the Met have gone, the Royal long since pulled down, as the gray unyielding concrete makes a city of my town. And the narrator says farewell to the historic River Liffey and its quays, which he personifies as Anna Liffey, and he remembers the real losses, such as Nelson's Pillar that was blown up in 1966 in the Trouble, the Metropole, which was a famous ballroom now demolished, and the Theatre Royal, which was torn down in the 1960s. In the end, the narrator concludes he's become part of what was Dublin in the rare old time, a living memory of a bygone era, unable to connect with the new modern city. The song isn't just nostalgia, it's a love letter to old Dublin and its working class culture, while also gently acknowledging that change is inevitable, although painful for those left behind. It's still sung with passion in Dublin and in Irish pubs everywhere today, especially when people get sentimental about the rare old times. A true Dublin anthem. Dublin City in the Rare Old Times by Pete St. John. Ring a rosy as the light declines. I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Raised on songs and stories, heroes of renown, the passing tales and glory that once was Dublin town. The hallowed halls and houses, the haunting children's rhymes, that once was Dublin City in the rare old times. Ring a rosy as the light declines. I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. My name, it is Sean Dempsey, as Dublin as could be, born hard and late in Pimlico, in a house that ceased to be. My trade, I was a cooper, lost out to redundancy. Like my house that fell to progress, my trade's a memory. And I courted Peggy Dignan, as pretty as you please, a rogue and child of Mary from the rebel liberties. I lost her to a student with skin as black as coal. When he took her off to Birmingham, she took away my soul. Ring a rosy as the lights decline. I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. The years have made me bitter, the goggle dims me brain, 'cause Dublin keeps on changing and nothing seems the same. The Pillar and the Met have gone, the Royal long since pulled down, as the grey unyielding concrete makes a city of my town. Join in if you know it. Ring a rosy as the lights declines. I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Fare thee well, sweet Anna Liffey, I can no longer stay and watch the new glass cages that spring up along the quay. My mind's too full of memories, too old to hear new chimes. I'm part of what was Dublin in the rare old times. Ring a rosy as the lights decline. I remember Dublin City in the rare old time. And again, ring a rosy As the lights declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Why doesn't old Boston have such a love letter song that longs for the rare old times in Boston? Are there any old-timey poets out there? How about first a poet, and then a poem, and then a song? This is Rod Murphy. Thank you for viewing or listening to my YouTube and podcast episodes. I really appreciate it. If you enjoy them, please hit the subscribe button. Does not cost you anything, and it helps me to grow my audience. Again, my thanks.